Hey guys, welcome back to Home and Garden with Anna, formerly known as At Home with Anna. First thing we're going to talk about is the name change. Many of you guys have noticed that I changed the name of the channel, and the reason why I did that is because I am a home and garden channel. I garden every spring, summer, and fall, and I also do a lot of home things, and I just figured that the Home and Garden with Anna was a more fitting name. I didn't make a big announcement. I just changed the name on Instagram and here on YouTube, and some of you guys picked up on that. So if you're watching older videos, you're going to see that it's At Home with Anna, and that is the old channel name. So I did want to touch on that really quickly. But we're going to go over, answer some viewer questions and concerns, and just share some comments over the last 10 videos for the month of April. That was a lot of videos, month of April, and I'm going to try and make this really quick so we don't get bored. We're going to start off with the very first video that we did, which was starting in the backyard garden. We planted up the Sun Valley maples with violas, and we planted the sun patience in the hydrangea garden. That was a really fun project because it was the first brightening up of the yard from winter. It got me really excited for the gardening season, so that was really fun. So most of the comments on that was everybody was super excited for the gardening season to begin, and I know that the gardening season is different in so many areas. One of the things that I always forget to mention is that I garden in zone 7B, so I'm going to try and be better about that and let you guys know that that is where I'm gardening, or put that in the videos, but it is something that I forget to mention in the videos. But even though our garden centers opened and they were starting to sell things, we still had a couple of frosts after that. So one of the things that if you're new to gardening that you need to pay attention to is when you have a last frost date. It says, for instance, I'm just going to use a date, April 15th is your last frost date, which is ours. That is only 70%. You still have 30% chance after that of getting another frost. But I choose to plant anyways. Well, I planted, and the sun patience, the ones that turned out red, I don't know why that side, a couple of the flowers got burnt, but the plant didn't, just the flowers. And then my begonias up front turned into mush, but they recovered, they rebounded, so I'm happy about that. So it's really just a chance that you have to take in your own garden, in your own area, whatever zone. But keep that in mind, it's a 70-30, it's not 100%, but that is your last frost. Even though I was way ahead of that. I think I started planting the end of March, so I didn't even wait till I was even close to my last frost date because I'm stubborn like that. Mostly, everybody was just super excited to get, that video just got a lot of people excited for gardening in their own gardens, and that made me super happy because that's why I do what I do. I'm going to go over some of the questions that came out in that video. Mary, Born for Health, said, "You did such a good job bringing color to your gardens. Just wondering why you didn't add any fertilizer in the holes before putting the plants in." I normally do. We did go back and fertilize after, but I normally do use plant tone when I'm planting anything. I guess that day I didn't have it on hand, or I couldn't find it, I think it was. I did end up finding it after and was able to use it, but we did go back and fertilize that, but I typically will always use plant tone. I'll just throw some of that in there, and that just helps with a really strong root system. And then for my annuals, I do a weekly fertilizing anyways, so, annuals are heavy feeders. Most of them are anyways. And then Renee Mickens says, "Your garden looks so nice. You've given me some good ideas. Just curious as to what state you live in." I'm in Middle Tennessee, and I'm new here. This is only my second gardening season. Made a lot of mistakes last year. Recovered from those this year. Won't make them again. But I'm still learning how to garden here in the South, and it's super fun. Terry Spees 41 says, "Anna, I am so happy it's time to be outside. All your plants are going to be pretty. As usual, your white stake lights. Do you remember where you bought them?" I get a lot of questions of the dome lights in my, right off my porch, the lantern. They have a little place for a flag. I got those at Tractor Supply, and I got them last year. this time of year, and they have them again this year at my Tractor Supply, and they have them in beige and a sage green. Somebody did comment that their Tractor Supply didn't have them. I don't know what to tell you about that. Maybe they do well in some areas and not in others, or maybe they just haven't gotten them in yet. If you are behind me as far as gardening goes, maybe they'll get them, so keep checking. Debbie Thompson says, beautiful designs. Do you not like to use garden edging? We do, actually. We have edging installed by the Curbing Edge here in Middle Tennessee in our front gardens, and we got a quote for the back gardens, and it was just overpriced, as everything is these days. So we chose to not do that right now, but we do hope to do the same exact edging in the backyard that we did in the front yard eventually. Carrie Doxson says, good morning. I'm going to have a nice cool beverage after watching you work putting those plants. I missed the reason why you aren't using bark this year. So we had installed the big bark. That was my mistake. I bought it one day without Ernie. I bought a bunch of bags of it. And it's that real chunky bark, and we just don't like the look of it. We like mulch in our garden. Mulch is just much finer, but also mulch has a lot more nutrients in it to help the clay soil here in my area. So I'm adding as much organic matter as I can to my gardens to help amend the soil. Not that I want to amend it 100%, I just want it to be easier to work with. And I've done a great job in the front. That clay soil is really crumbly in most areas. And some back here actually too. I had some crumbly clay, so that's nice. But I'm just trying to add as much organic matter as I can. And the mulch has a lot more organic matter than the bark. Bark is good too, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't break down as fast as the mulch does. Maria Williams says, Anna, I love the annuals you chose and look forward to seeing them grow. Have you ever tried vincas for annuals? They are very heat tolerant and do great in the south. Also, lantana is great and also attracts hummingbirds. I don't think they smell good. I agree with you. We did lantana in California a lot. Ernie hates them. He's not a fan of the lantana. I'm not really either. It's not really something that excites me in the garden, so we just choose to not use that. I have vinca vines in my pots. I didn't know that they were full sun. I thought they were part shade. Is there a difference between the vinca and the vinca vines? I don't know. I might have to look into that if there is. I will definitely look into that, Maria. Thank you for that. Linda839 says, it's going to be beautiful in about a month. Can't wait to see it. Can you recommend flowers for planter boxes with only 5 hours of morning sun? No green thumb here. I can appreciate that. 5 hours of morning sun. You know, I would probably do a sunshade plant, so I would go to like your local garden center. Anything that is full sun will do okay with the filtered light in the shade. So I think you're going to be fine with that. There are some plants that won't perform as well if they're full sun and you put them in shade, but if they get like filtered sun, they'll do okay. Kind of like my impatiens last year, they got a lot of sun when the sun was sitting directly over the house, and they wilted, but they would rebound as soon as the sun went away, and they would, you know, get perky, and they grew gigantic. So I think that you'd be safe in that area to do a full sun or a shade sun type perennial, or, you know, annual. That's what I would look for, definitely. But I don't know your area or your zone, so sometimes it's better to go to your local nurseries, not like Home Depot or Lowe's. Not that those people aren't informative, because they can be. But I feel like at the nurseries in your towns, they have more information for you. So that would probably be a question I'd ask them, just because they would know more specific to your area. Lynn Boyer, 3004, says, it's Arbor Vitae, Miss Anna, not Arbor Ite. It literally translates arbor, tree, and vitae, life, tree of life. Arbor Vitae is one of my favorite shrubs. I know. They were new to me when I first got here, and I was pronouncing them wrong for so long, it just stuck. And I have the hardest time saying it the right way. Arbor Vitae, Arbor Vitae. Get it right, I'll get it right. Oh, I thought that was really funny, Lynn. Thank you for that, that was really funny. Bonnie Lamb 2170 says, I don't know how much garden soil will amend. Have you ever just used compost? Yes, 100%. We have just used compost, but mulch definitely amends the soil. Any organic matter that you put in your garden, and there is nothing bad as far as mulch, bark, compost, any of that you can put in your garden. None of it's going to be bad. All of it's going to add nutrients to your soil and amend it in some sort of way. Just some are better than others. So what is the difference between bark and mulch? So bark is usually less durable than mulch because mulch is made from organic matter that breaks down over time. It's still beautiful. Both of them are still beautiful, but I need as much organic matter as I can get into this clay soil. So, and then of course the question from Cindy Warren, which I already addressed, is what zone am I in? And I'm in zone 7B, Middle Tennessee. And that's it for that video. There was a lot of comments, but a lot of them were just, they loved the video. So I'm just going to pick questions that I think are super important to answer for you guys out of all of the videos. Video number 2 was the no-dig garden. Boy, oh boy. That one is still getting a ton of views and a ton of comments, which is great. That video is still, the no-dig garden video is still doing super good. It got so many comments and so many opinions. I think it's just about 180,000 views, so you can imagine the amount of comments I've gotten with it. So I'm just going to address those because it's kind of tons of responses on it, and I just couldn't possibly go through all of them. So I'm going to just address the most common on there. First, why no edging? The dirt's going to spill over. It's going to just pour out, the whole thing. Ernie cut around all the edges, and I don't think the camera picks up how deep he cut and how wide he cut. So right now, everything, when it rains, and we had a heavy rain last night. As a matter of fact, it was so heavy, the gully was full behind my house, behind the Arbor Vitaes. It was full of water. It rained, thunderstorms last night. I went out there and there's a little bit, but not much. So we haven't had an issue with it, and because we haven't had an issue with it, we're not even considering a border. But if it becomes an issue, absolutely. But like I said, we eventually want to have all of the gardens done like what we already have, and it's going to be a cost to get all of the back and those 2 gardens in the front. And I'm not done building gardens yet, guys, so I kind of want to wait until I have everything pretty much done as far as garden beds go, and then call them and have them come out and quote me on everything and just do it in one fair swoop. So those will eventually get a garden edge, just not, there's no plans for it right now because it's not needed. Okay, and the second most commented thing was the plant choice. The monkey grass. I got a lot of comments that it's super invasive, it was a mistake, I shouldn't have planted it, I planted too many, on and on and on and on. First of all, I do my research. I don't just go out and say, oh, this looks great, let me buy that. And even if I did when I'm out, because I do buy plants like that sometimes, I absolutely 100% ask about the plant. If I have my phone, I research, the plant. And so when I read how big they get, I want them to merge and I want them to be one solid border. And so that is why I planted so many so close together. And they are the clumping monkey grass, not the ones that send shooters. Even if I would have gotten the one that sends shooters, I am out in my garden on a daily basis as the weather permits. And if I see things I don't like going on my garden, I, rectify it. So it's not like it would have become invasive or an issue. And even if that were the case, then I would have dealt with it. But I researched it, so that was something that was, oh my gosh, like crazy. I got a few comments about the sun patience. I'm very, very well aware how big the sun patience get, super aware of it. Part of the reason why I planted the way I planted was because we planted so tall. I want those plants to secure the dirt, which it will do, and those will grow together and it will look like one gigantic sun patient, which is exactly what I want. So, and somebody even went as far as to say I wasted my money. Well, Thank God it's my money, right? Then I got questions on the limelight hydrangea. That it's not going to survive. I didn't get questions. I was told it's not going to survive. It needs shade. Maybe in your area, and I do know that there are some hydrangeas that do require that filtered sun. In my zone, the limelight hydrangea is actually part sun to sun, so it can handle full sun. We have plenty of hydrangeas in Middle Tennessee, all over the place. I plan on doing a video and showing you as soon as they're all in bloom, probably in the next couple of weeks. We're going to start seeing blooms all over my neighborhood of pinnacle hydrangeas, all kinds of hydrangeas all over the place. And they're all in, we're in a new neighborhood, not a lot of mature trees at all. So most of them are planted in full sun. So it is a extremely durable plant here. It does like full sun in colder climates. So that's also something to consider. So I do kind of do my research, people. I know that my gardening may be new to some of you, and I may be new to some of you, but I'm not new to gardening. So that's not to say that I'm not making mistakes or not going to make mistakes. I most definitely am going to make mistakes, and I hope that I do, because that's the only way to learn. I hope that I make mistakes, and I will always be transparent. I'm never going to get in front of a camera and pretend like I know everything about gardening, because I absolutely do not even the best of the best. And on YouTube, I have one favorite I've been watching for years, ever since she was in her little townhome, and that is Laura from Garden Answer. Love her and Erin. I've been watching her for so many years, and actually she is my encouragement for small property, big gardening, because of the townhome gardens that she created. So even she will tell you that she's made mistakes. I mean, a million times. And as smart as she is and as educated as she is with plants, even sometimes it throws her. So, never get in front of a camera, pretend like you know everything. There's a couple of channels here on YouTube that have popped up, and I watch them and I'm like, yeah, I don't like the fact that you pretend like you know everything, and so I'm turned off by them. I don't like that, because I can't relate to that. I need somebody who makes mistakes and lets us learn from them, and teaches us why we shouldn't do what we do, rather than hiding the mistakes. So I'll never hide those from you. Oh, I got a lot of questions about my knee bench. I love that thing. It flips over and turns into a bench that you can sit on, and then flip it over and you can kneel on it, and then the legs for the bench, you can use those to help heave yourself up off the ground, which is very helpful when you're my age. So for us mature gardeners, and the knee pad is really thick. It's just very comfortable. I picked that up at Walmart. So for those of you that have asked about that, go to your local Walmart. It's really amazing. I love it. But most of the comments on the video, as always, are just lovely comments, and I appreciate them so much. And I thank you guys so much for always participating. I love it. I learn a lot from you guys. I really do. Okay, that takes us to video number 3. Let's bring the backyard gardens to life with some heat-loving perennials. K. Lamson 5161 says, FYI, Anna, in my experience with the lamb's ear and columbine, I literally don't touch it, and it reseeds and spreads like crazy. I have found lamb's ear growing in my neighbor's garden, and they didn't plant it. Also, deer won't eat it, but they love to bed down in it. Also, one of my absolute favorites is peony. They are very English garden looking, along with English lavender, and I agree with you 100%. I can't wait to get that garden done around the maple trees. I may not be planting peonies this year, but maybe next year that will turn into like my little flower garden, cut flower garden. I don't know, but I'm excited about peonies. Good. I'm glad it spreads. That is my favorite thing, is a plant that spreads. I am excited about that. I do know that columbine reseeds itself, and I'm so excited about that. There is a new peony that I'm super excited about. It's oh gosh, petticoat. It's so pretty. So I absolutely love the columbine, and I hope that it does spread. That is part of, for me, a cottage garden is, you know, the spreading of everything. This was really sweet. From Lynette Osborne, 2884 says, don't worry about your heavy breathing. You're getting good exercise, bending, kneeling, crunches, walking, all good. Enjoy that beauty of your garden and being creative. Good for the mind. People need to realize that the mic picks up everything. It does. This mic picks up everything. Everything. I mean, I'm shocked when I'm editing what it picks up when I'm outside. It blows my mind, because while I'm in the moment, I'm like, oh, they won't hear that. You know, it might be construction going on down the road. It picks it up. It's amazing. But thank you. Yeah, I'm totally out of shape. I need to work on that. Estelle Damascus 308 says, I'm in zone 4B and our nurseries aren't even open yet. Not till the end of April, and still then we cannot plant as we could have a freeze. So you're probably in that zone where you have to wait until after Mother's Day. Yeah, I don't know how you do that unless you're born into it, because I have a hard time here, which is why I ended up planting with the frost that came in, because I'm impatient, and you know, maybe I'll get better. I think next year I won't be as impatient, because I planted so many things in the garden that will come back. I think I'll have things in my garden that will start to regurgitate, and it'll make me excited and happy that I see that. It's just, our back gardens were nothing this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need life in my back gardens. I was so excited to get it. So yeah, I feel you. I feel 100%. My Eden 4321, roses would look great where the grasses are and the side you pointed out. Have you thought to combine those two back beds? It may be easier to manage the grass with it combined. I don't want my roses on the side yard. I want to enjoy them in the backyard. And I don't want them in my main garden in the backyard. I want them to part of the garden. I think I mentioned that this whole backyard is going to be one fair garden when I'm done with it. Well, I'll never be done, let's face it. But I want to see them and enjoy them. So I'm thinking in front of the arborvitaes, because I think once the arborvitaes grow together, it'll be a beautiful green backdrop, and they'll be in the front. So I'm excited about that. Ann Brownlee 8813 says, I'm a beginner at this and so glad to find your channel. I had no idea clay was good. That's all we have in South Texas, and I hate it. Any beginner garden tips are appreciated. Oh yeah. So it is good, and I had the same thought as you. I thought it was horrible. That was my first instinct. Because the clay allows the roots to hold tight in the soil, holds more water and nutrients. I discussed that when we were doing the irrigation, which we'll get to in a minute. I had to move you guys around because I want to do this outside. It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, 78 degrees. And the camera was sitting in the sun. It got a little hot. And the clay soil, because it holds moisture, it holds nutrients really well too. So it's not bad. I automatically assumed it was horrible, you know, but you do want to amend it because it's easier to work with. An amended clay soil, you're able to just kind of crumble it. It's still clayey, but it's crumbly. It's not a big mass, a big chunk. So hopefully that helps. Then Liz Sanchez 1847 says, love your channel and all the wonderful content, but may I suggest that you list the plants in the description box for us to refer later. I tell you what the plants are in the video so that I don't have to list them. It's a lot of work to have to go back and do that. So you can just screenshot them when I'm, you know, sharing with you like the plant and talking about it. Maybe screenshot if there's a plant that you like, but yeah, it's a lot of work to do that. Becky Hancock 3213 says, try sprinkling red pepper flakes around your violas, pansies, and sun patience. I'm gonna do that right now. I've been chasing bunnies out of my yard all day. You may not have any more problems with bunnies and squirrels. I don't have squirrels, it's the bunnies. I've used it for years. I even have put it in the outdoor front door wreaths to prevent birds from nesting there. That's pretty smart. The bunnies are so brave here. I was sitting here on the patio last night and one came cruising up from the garden through my potted plants and up and just stared at me. And I was like, you little sucker, get out of here. I don't have nothing for you. But I'm going to try that. I wanted to share that comment in case anybody else has issues with bunnies or squirrels. Terry Spees 41 says, it is exhausting work, but so worth it. I use the holly tone and my nurseries tell me not to place my plant directly into the soil of holly tone because it will burn your plant. Sprinkle it on top of the soil. Then when you water your plant, your beds are very pretty. Oh, absolutely. We use plant tone inside the when we're planting. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't burn my plants. On holly tone, we use that for our evergreens. But I recently just found out that the plant tone is better than the holly tone for the evergreens, even though the holly tone says evergreen. We will be using plant tone next year when we fertilize the evergreens. Melinda Iwo 437, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hi Anna, your landscaping looks great. Please consider the area around the HVAC unit. You need more space for airflow. Plants too close will reduce airflow, making units work harder, wearing them out faster. Sky pencil hollies are great for adding height, but not much width. Otherwise, very beautiful. Thank you so much for that. We'll pay close attention to that 100%. Michelle France 1165 says, it's going to look beautiful. A few tips: don't fertilize the sedum. They hate it. They're very drought tolerant. Butterfly bush should come back, but if you get another heavy frost, cover it. I had one last year with the polar vortex. It came back fine. Please let me know how the Super Thrive works. I have some, but usually only use it on my houseplants. It's working fabulous. Love it. That butterfly bush came back with a vengeance in a week. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 6-8 inches tall now. So it's doing really good. As far as sedum goes, they are very light feeders, once to twice a year. Yes, you do need to. All plants need fertilizer, guys. All of them do. And Laura probably doesn't, because a lot of people said, listen to Laura. She probably doesn't fertilize hers directly, but hers get fertilizer because she plants everything so closely like I do. There's no way my sedums are not going to get, and I did show in the garden the garden tour, I showed the difference between a fertilized sedum and mine that I fertilized, which are still looking fabulous, and the ones I bought that were over fertilized that are very leggy. So there is a reason why you don't want to do that. You don't want them to flower and get all leggy. They don't look pretty that way. I don't mind them. I like a very casual garden, if you will. So I don't mind them too much like that. Whatever. But I did cut those back, pruned them back, the really heavy legs, because there was so much growth underneath that was screaming to be let loose. So I did do that. But they do need to be fed. They're just very light feeders. Just maybe once a year, twice a year, maybe. And I am shocked with so many people lost so much in that polar vortex, so you're so lucky. That means that the butterfly bushes are pretty resilient. Okay, Deb Schaefer 9213 says, hey Anna, I love watching you garden. Just a question, what do you use to fertilize your plants once in the ground? Trying to find something that works, that isn't too much trouble to use. I have a hard time in the garden nowadays. My garden is going on a second year, so fertilizing and pruning is key. Thanks in advance and happy gardening. I use Miracle-Gro, the spray feeder. So you just pour a packet into it and hook it up to your water hose, and I just go around and I water everything once a week, my annuals. And then I usually only fertilize everything else like maybe twice a year. Early spring, obviously everything gets fertilizer, and then we might do it again like in fall, like before they go to bed for winter. But that's it. And plant tone is what we'll do then. So just because plant tone helps with the root system, so that's pretty much it. But I use the Miracle-Gro and I do that once a week. Fertilizing, I wish they would come up with like the auto irrigation. I wish they'd come up with an auto fertilizer. Then Elaine, my word 6996799 says, Magnolia is a huge tree. I have one. Its roots are huge. It should not be planted close to the house, just saying. This is a sweet bay magnolia. It's not your traditional. I would have never planted a traditional magnolia tree unless I lived on a big property. I don't even think on this property I would plant one of those. I really don't. But the sweet bay is fine. They stay pretty small here. I think this one gets to about 20 feet, so just about the height of the house. We can keep it pruned away from the house on the back side. It's a pretty airy, casual tree. This is a multi-trunk, so we can keep it low. We can keep it exactly the way it is right now if we want. So yeah, we've got plenty of them in the neighborhood. The builder planted in front of the first, like, when you enter the neighborhood, a lot of those houses have them, and they're already tall and they're nice and narrow and beautiful. I'd never seen one of those until moving to the south. They're beautiful. So anyways, that takes us to video number 4, how to create a small cottage garden. Teresa BP57 says, it's looking pretty. I've noticed that you don't have a closed-in fence. It looks beautiful. Open, love it. I got a lot of questions about what is that green belt behind my house? Why is there some fences and no fences here in the south? One of the things that I love is that a lot of the older properties, you will notice they don't have fencing. People just don't fence their yards in unless they have pets. And when I drive through the ranches right outside my neighborhood, none of the houses have fences, and if they do have fences, it's more like a dog run for their dog. Fences are just not common. A matter of fact, my neighbor behind me that's lived here forever said they used to not allow fences here, but here in my neighborhood they gave us the option of doing one of the wrought iron or the white. You can see a lot of people chose the white. I hate them. I think they look ridiculous. I don't like to be closed in my garden. I love that open airy feel, and so but the reason why a lot of people here have chose to put fences up is because they have small children or pets that they want to keep safe. You can't blame them, but I don't have either, so I was excited that I get to have a green backdrop. You know, it's lovely. But still, everybody uses those open areas to walk to each other's house. During the summer, the kids will be running through there, neighbors going to neighbors' houses, carrying wood for fires or a bottle of wine to barbecue, their coolers, and it's just lovely. I just love it here so much. I can't tell you a bad thing about Tennessee. I just love it here so much. The only problem I have with Tennessee is I didn't move here sooner. That's it. Love it here. Barbara Williams 834 says, love all of your content. This video is so inspirational. I just purchased a home with a nice sized flat backyard and no garden beds. This provides great inspiration to create beautiful spaces. Thank you so much, Barbara, and congratulations on the purchase of your home. I'm so excited for you. You have a blank space. I'm jealous. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. I'm glad I can be an inspiration for you. Kathy Penn 1073, what a great idea for perennial grass in a pot. I'm so going to do that too. Thank you for that great idea. I love your videos so much. Yeah, that was, Ernie came home and quickly said, nope, those are not staying because they're going to get big. And I said, oh man, because I told you guys the lady at the garden center, the little nursery, she was a young girl. And it was on a weekend, so I think it was maybe the owner's daughter, I don't know, somebody's daughter working that was helping us, sweet girl, and she didn't know the name of the perennial grass, but I loved it, and so I wanted them, so I bought them anyways. I know nothing about them, but Ernie said, oh, we have the exact same grass at the office, and they're huge, and I said, oh gosh, but I want them, and you know, that's when he said, well, let's put them in pots. So there you go. We put them in pots, and just keep in mind that they are going to get root bound, and I did that knowing they're going to get root bound. They will get root bound, and they will need to be root pruned eventually. So just keep that in mind. Tatiana 2076 says the pots are goals. Next time, don't waste all that soil. Fill the bottom with plastic nursery containers upside down so that you can take up space and then fill the soil. That is so smart. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I'm kicking myself for not thinking about that, so thank you for that. User letters and numbers. Anna, have you considered uniting the beds, removing the thin area of grass, replacing it with stepping stones, but it looks beautiful? Absolutely, we have, and I touched on that in the my garden tour. That I think that's naturally just going to happen, but we have always planned on putting stones in that little pathway, so I think the grass is just going to dissipate anyways. which excites me because it just, as soon as we get that arbor up over there, the next arbor I think is going to be this one here, but I think that when we get that arbor up, it's just automatically going to change the whole feel of that space. Do you guys agree? It's going to change. So I'm really excited about that. But thank you for that. I totally agree with you 100%. Maria Meyer 22 says, beautiful gardens, love it all. Where are the pots from? I got them from a place called, I get a lot of questions about my pots on the front porch and the ones back here. The ones back here are at a place called Old Time Pottery here in my town. And the ones up front on my front porch, the white trio, I get a lot of questions about those. Those and the other ones, those are all, no. The trio is purchased at Home, and then the ones up on my porch, the two white and the blue, are Old Time Pottery. Those are the two places I go for pots. Terry Johnson 4884 says, hi Anna, your garden is looking great. Why not plant your tall grass between or in front of your arborvitaes? You will still get that whimsy. Nothing is going to be planted in between the arborvitaes because those are going to grow and merge together as one hedge. So we'll never plant anything in between. And I mentioned before, I really want roses, so I think I'm going to do roses in the front. But good idea. I think that's a good idea. If I had a bigger property, I probably would do that. But like, I don't want to put it in the ground now that Ernie said that. It freaks me out. You know what I mean? Like if I had a bigger space that I wanted to fill up, maybe. I don't know. Ernie's not happy with them. He doesn't like them. Ernie likes green and lush, and he doesn't like them right now. He doesn't like that they're tan and green. He wants all the tan to go away. He wants them to be green. So we'll see if they last. I don't know. He's got a lot of say-so in the garden, but he puts a lot of work into it too. So Donut Domination 139. I like that. Donut Domination. Did you use tubing with holes through your pots? If so, you're supposed to use tubing without holes to go up through your pots and use the tubing with holes to lay on top of the soil. We've done this before, and so no, we did not. We used the tubing that we're supposed to use, and then Ernie put an emitter on it, and it's going to be watered that way. So now for the next video, which was my arborvitaes maybe dying and planting up some shade-loving planters in the front. Really the only thing I want to address on this video is the conclusion. Everybody had some great ideas of what that black could have been. Seriously, you guys did. I was blown away with all the different answers. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It was like, it was overwhelming actually. But the conclusion is that we did have a gentleman come and spray for spider mites. Short video, not much, to talk about in that video. So video number 6 was how to create a beautiful entry into your cottage style garden. There were so many wonderful comments on that, you guys, giving Ernie and I a high five and telling us what a great job. You guys are all so sweet. We love reading your guys' comments, and Ernie reads them all. A matter of fact, he'll text me and he'll say, hey, did you read that comment? Somebody said this, we should look into that. He's amazing. He's so supportive, and he really enjoys reading your guys' comment and how supportive you guys are. He just really does. So we really do listen to what you guys say, and honestly, we learn a lot from you guys. There wasn't really any questions on that video. I mean, there were, but it was repetitive to other videos, and I've already answered those, or I will be answering them. But there really wasn't any. It was just really kudos to us for that. So we appreciate you guys so much. You'll never know. I try my hardest to answer every single comment. It's getting more difficult. The larger my channel gets, it's getting more difficult. I will say that. But I will always try my very hardest to answer every single comment. And that's all I have for that video. It was pretty short and sweet. We put up that beautiful arbor, and it was, and that was that. So it was pretty sweet. Video number 7, the arborvitae update, planting more proven winners. Greta McBean 258, you wrote a beautiful song for Ernie. It goes wonderful with the garden. Can't wait to see it in full bloom. The dental floss is a great idea. God bless. The crepe myrtle is going to do just fine. Thank you so much for that. I got a lot of comments about the song that I had written for Ernie. I didn't tell you guys how I had the song written. You may have heard of Songfinch. That's where I went to have a song written for him. So let me just share with you that if you ever plan on doing that, nobody had told me about this, and so I wish I would have known this when I ordered the music. In the description, when you're telling them about your life with that person, that's pretty much what they use for the lyrics. So think about that when you're writing in the description. Nobody told me that, and there was, I think, one thing where it's like I wrote, he has always supported every home business I've ever had. She literally used that exact verbiage in the song, which is fine, it's true, but it kind of sounds silly to me. So just letting you guys know that. But he loved that. I gave it to him for Father's Day last year, and he loved it, and it made him cry. It really does make people cry. It's very touching, and it was a surprise for him. We surprised him. We were just sitting here, and I was able to put it up on the TV. Because I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, and so we were sitting here having coffee, the grandkids were here, and I put it on, and he was just like, whoa, you know, because I was like, listen to the song, and yeah, it was very touching. So I thought the Gentle Blast was an excellent idea myself. I thought it was pretty good, and that was just, you know, I'm a pretty creative person if I have to be, you know, and I thought that was a pretty good idea too. It's going to hold up great because, as we all know, it's really hard to cut, so it's going to hold up fabulous. And my crepe myrtle is doing good. So far so good, but we're entering May, and y'all know what that means, the beetle season. JujuB223 says, you are in for such a treat with those strawberry Sunday hydrangeas. The pinnacle ones are so much less fussier than the ball-shaped ones. Just remember not to get the blooms wet because they will sun scorch. I love the Bobo hydrangeas too. Your yards are gorgeous. You were such an inspiration. Thank you so much for that. I will remember that about the blooms, but we get a lot of storms here in the summer. We're not really Tornado Alley, but we get a lot of severe weather. Like, you know, it's starting. We're like at the beginning of the severe weather, so we get a lot of rain. I mean, I don't know how else. I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to suck it up because that's what happened last year. And then in fall, of course, when the rain kind of like died down, all of my big, beautiful blooms, hold on. Then I got the big, beautiful blooms, and I was able to save some for a beautiful arrangement on my coffee table. These are, you know, from my garden last year, and I love them. So, yes, I'm very excited. Okay, Estella Damaski 308 says, there is nothing like having a loving soulmate for life. The song is precious. My husband and I dated for 3 weeks, got engaged, married 3 months later, and just celebrated our 52nd wedding anniversary. A good guy is hard to come by, and we both say we would do it all again. So what is that empty space in the back of you? You said it belongs to everyone. I never seen that before. We never had those in my part of California. Is it common in Tennessee? Love the garden. I did get a perennial today, my first. So excited. Here in Wisconsin, our Amish nurseries will open on the weekend finally. Yay! Excited for you. I already addressed the whole common area, and I just wanted to share with everybody about how amazing that is. 52nd wedding anniversary. Congratulations. I love those stories. And yeah, it is common in Tennessee. We all have to have that space. It goes down like this from everybody's yard because that fills up with water. Those are the drainage areas. Even though our property line goes down to the center, you can't do anything there because you do not want to disturb the water flow because we get a lot of rain, you guys. I mean, it's crazy rain. We get a lot. JCM Hain 1 says, Anna, it's Saturday the 27th. We went to our favorite nursery. I purchased Sun Patience because of you. I thought, I'm going to try them. I'm so excited for you. They are amazing, you guys. I love Sun Patience so much. I think you're going to love them, and I can't wait to hear how much you love them. They're amazing. They're an amazing no-foul plant as far as I'm concerned. Bonnie Lamb 2170 said, I would love a crepe myrtle, but I don't think I can grow them in Ohio. I'll just have to enjoy yours. Happy birthday, sweetie. They can grow in northern Ohio. When I read that comment, I looked, and in north Ohio, I don't know where you're at, you can grow them. But even so, you probably will deal with powdery mildew. I guess that's a thing. So if you're in north Ohio and you're willing to maybe deal with powdery mildew, you can grow a crepe myrtle. Tanya O'Garo 7926 says, I love watching you plant things and not to be afraid to say it didn't work. It feels like I come to your home every day just to have coffee and conversations. Many blessings to you and your husband. Thank you so much for that, Tanya. That is exactly the feel that I want people to have when they watch my videos, is that you're here with me, that you're at my home. I'm sharing my home with you. It makes me really happy to do that. It makes me really happy that that's how you feel, because if you were walking by, I absolutely would invite you in. That's just how I am. I actually would love to eventually have a garden and put a sign out front that says tour the garden. Once I have all my pathways and everything done, I would love to invite people to tour my garden, you know? And I think that would be really cool to let people see, because I see neighbors walk by, they stop, they look at the front, you know, and then I see them look down the sides, because you can see the arbor on this side and you can see the Sun Valley maples on that side. So they definitely know something's going on in the backyard and they're like really curious. I would love to put a sign out there eventually that says, come tour my garden, you know? So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Lizzie 2563 says, looks good, Anna. A rose bush in between the arborvitaes would look good. Did you ever try the beer for snails? It's a real thing. I actually looked it up after I sent it to you. The mandevilla would be great for the other arbor as well. I don't want to plant a mandevilla on the arbor. I want to plant something that is going to come back for me annually, like the clematis. I'm trying really hard to put really beautiful things in my garden, like stationary things, anchor plants, if you will, that will come back annually. So definitely want to do that on my arbors for sure. But I do love my mandemvillas. As you know, I've got 3 of them. I love them. And I choose to put them in pots because they're an annual here. I choose to not put them in the ground because they get really big and I don't want them to take up the space that I could use for a perennial. So that's why I choose to put them in pots. I haven't tried the beer. Oh my gosh. Somebody else told me uncooked oats. I haven't done anything actually. I even bought slug stuff and I haven't opened that. I've just been so busy, but I haven't tried it. I'm curious too to see if it works. I'll definitely give it a shot. Definitely. Doer of the World 262 says, hi, love your content. You mentioned placing white painted bicycle as a centerpiece by the 2 trees. Do you know that it represents someone who has lived their life on a bike? I think that's a typo. It should say lived their life on a bike, I'm assuming. Just thought I'd let you know. Fantastic work done by your husband. Glad your video was recommended in my feed. Well, it may mean that, but I'm putting a bike in my garden, darn it. And actually, it's fitting because I grew up in San Diego on the beach and we rode our beach cruisers all the time. So Ernie and I just stopped riding our beach cruisers when we moved out of California. We would still take them down to the beach and ride them all the time. So it's kind of fitting, don't you think? Plus very cottage gardeny. I love it. Zihel Ike, Hel Hasbim Milani. I'm so sorry I butchered that. I know I did. Hi Anna, love watching your videos. Just curious, do you also plant vegetables or just plants and flowers? Just plants and flowers right now. But I definitely, and I said this last spring, I want to grow. I'm going to get some grow bags and grow some food. I definitely, if I had a bigger I'm trying to figure out a way how to incorporate that. But I have so many ideas still for the back garden that I don't know. But I think once I get some of the stationary beds put in and some of the things, I will be able to incorporate food into the garden in a beautiful way. I think I'll be able to do that. So stay tuned, that's coming. Barbara Kill 9442 says, everything is looking so pretty. If you don't like the one border being red and one pink, you could swap every one and it would be a sweet checkerboard effect. Just a thought. I had several people suggest that actually, and it's not a bad idea, but because I'm going to be planting my patriotic garden in the front, and I already have red plants. I'm not going to repurchase. I'm just going to transplant these to the front and buy the pink ones and put them back here. But that is an excellent idea. Stephanie Passon, 1474 says, what is the name of the tree that's behind you? I would have done the edging another half a meter out, as trees will grow a lot more. And I'm assuming you were talking about the Sun Valley maples. We have a Sun Valley maple, and then right here is my Sweet Bay. So I have 2 Sun Valley maples, a Sweet Bay magnolia, and then a Natchez crepe myrtle, and then the line of arborvitaes. So there you go. And Ernie did exactly the width that he needed to do for that border underneath the arborvitaes. I think it's going to be just fine. But thank you for that. Video number 9 was a garden tour, so it's pretty self-explanatory. I got lots of comments on there and a lot of still questions, because I think people have questions in their mind they forget to ask me, and then when they see a video pop up, they ask the question even though it doesn't refer to that video. So there were questions in that video, but mostly it was just comments about how pretty the garden is, and thank you. And if there was a question, I've already addressed it, or I'm going to soon. So it was pretty self-explanatory. Garden number, or the last one, I think this is the last one. Yeah, the last one is how we saved thousands by doing this ourselves. It was the DIY landscaping or DIY irrigation that we just did. Swim 136. If you ever see Swim 136 comment on my videos, go read them. They are full of the most amazing ideas. I love when Swim 136 comments. Love everything you are doing and experiencing. Get liquid fence to keep the bunnies and deer away from plants. It works in the South. Will not hurt the plants. Recommended by many pros. Lowe's carries it, or you can order it online. Then I'm going to do it because I chase them with my fly swatter. Little suckers. And they're not even afraid of me anymore. I'm just too nice. I think it's my voice. I go out there and I'm like nice to them, you know, like I talk nice to them even though I'm holding up the fly swatter like I'd ever hit them. But I'm like too nice when I'm talking to them, and they're just not really afraid of me at all. But the funny thing is you guys, is they only eat the petals off a little plant here or there. They don't like go to town like they have. My neighbors across the street do not understand why in their garden they can plant pansies and the next morning they wake up and they're eaten to the ground. Nothing's there. And they're like, wow, are you able to grow flowers? And they don't touch them. And I said, well, number one, they don't feel safe here because I chase them away all the time. I threaten them with the fly swatter. I'm going to spank them. And I'm going to try the pepper flakes too. I tried cayenne, but I think the rain washed it away because the bunnies all day today have been all over my yard. I think there's that, but also I read if you have a lot of shrubs in your garden, that also helps because they're the victims of predatory animals. So I think they don't like a lot of bushes. I'm assuming that's why. I don't understand why they don't like gardens with a lot of bushes, but that's what I heard, and I have a lot of bushes, so they don't hang out long. Let's just put it that way. Rosa Torres 14 says, good morning. Can you please link all the material? Thank you. I should have done that. I did not, and I will eventually, so be looking for that. I should have done that, and I've got so much going on right now. So. Donna Campbell 1641 says, unbelievable how much you and Ernie can do on your own. I guess there isn't anything Ernie can't figure out. It's true. It's true. The man does everything. He does everything. And he is so meticulous with everything. I wish I had an Ernie at my house. By the way, how is the inside of your house looking? I see you spending so much time in your yard. There's probably not much left for the inside. But knowing the way you do things, I'm sure it's tidy. Love your videos and love in Christ. I love that. Thank you so much. This was by Donna Campbell, 1641. My house is staying tidy. I'm keeping up on it. I have to. I can't go play in the garden if my house is dirty. I just cannot without a guilty conscience. Janetta 5827. Don't forget to add a backflow preventer valve at the spigot to keep it from backing up into your drinking water. Nice video. Your plants are going to be happy. I agree. My plants are going to be so, they already are. They're just so happy. They looked great. And then Ernie and I noticed after the first watering, because the water gets to the roots, you know, It's so much different than watering by hand. They just seemed happier, like they perked up a little bit, you know, so I agree with you 100%. Do not need a backflow preventer because that timer shuts off the water, so it shuts off, so no water comes through, so we're good. Diana Cordero Sanchez, I think. Anna, this was such a great learning video. My husband loves that you wear your Chargers hat. Always, always. My son and daughter-in-law are starting a league, a football league, and they're calling them, the name is going to be the Chargers, Walter Hill Chargers. So I said, perfect, and it's with the Charger logo and everything. I mean, we're born and raised San Diego, you know. Alicia Diato, 2654, great job, thanks for sharing. The Mandevilla is actually drought tolerant. It doesn't like a lot of water. So it's a vining plant that prefers a consistently damp soil because it is tropical. It doesn't like to be overwatered, 100%. It's not really drought tolerant. Again, you have to be really careful when you use those words. So it likes a consistently wet soil. It doesn't want to be drowned. You know what I'm saying? And actually you can, they would benefit from, I think that's why they do so well in my yard, because we do get a lot of rain. They like their leaves and flower, they like the leaves and stuff to be wet too. A completely different way of growing them here than the way I grew them in California. California, you planted them, they were a perennial. They grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and then, you know, they would not grow during the winter, but they would stay beautiful, and then come spring, they would start growing all over again. They were unmanageable. They were just, it was amazing. Here, they grow just as wonderful. We water ours. I don't know, plants need water, you know, I get it. I mean, I wouldn't water a cactus every day, but plants need water. So, I also think, again, we're going back to zones, right? So, what is good for my zone may not be good for your zone. You know what I mean? Because our weather may be really different. So kind of keep that in mind as well. It definitely is drought tolerant. If drought tolerant means they like a consistently wet soil. And the beauty of that is, there's a positive to that, is if I leave on vacation for a week and they don't get any water for a week, they're gonna be just fine. That's great, but they're not gonna hate it if I water them. Iris Diaz 7172 says, hi Ann, why didn't you do irrigation with sprinkler heads to both the plants and the grass? Here in Florida, I also had to install a system. Oh my goodness, poor Ernie. That he does plan on doing that eventually. We don't have a problem. We set our sprinklers up where we need them during the spring and summer and fall. For instance, we have one set up in the front. It's on a tripod, and we set it up in the corner of the yard, and all we have to do is turn the spigot on and run it, and then we turn it off. Ernie's gonna put, those were on timers last year, so we just put our sprinklers set up and get them to where we want them, and we put those on timers and they water our grass. Saves Ernie a lot of digging. He's not really interested in doing that right now. That might be a next year project, or maybe over winter or fall or something, but he's really not interested in doing the grass right now because he's been busting his butt in the yard, so gotta inch him along, Maureen 3944 says, excellent video on how to do irrigation on a small scale. I did this last year with the garden hose, and this tubing is so much better. How long do you run the timer per watering? I'm in the Midwest and clay soil too. Thank you. Okay, so going back to clay soil, retaining water and holding it, we have to be really careful. So because I have a lot of young plants, my brain automatically went to, run it twice a day for 30 minutes a day because it's hot and windy here. And the wind will dry off the top of the soil, and it's hot, and I just want to keep my plants really happy. But that was just too much. So I have since taken off the second watering, and now I'm watering once in the morning for 15 minutes. And remember that there's rain happening too. We're gonna see how that works. So it's really just trial and error. So I don't want my plants to die because they're getting too much water now. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be trial and error. So if I start to see my plants not doing so good, then I can up that water. but I think 15 minutes is going to be sufficient right now because we haven't really hit, you know, like the August heat. I think when the August heat hits, I might move it back to twice a day. Shorter intervals, but shorter time, but twice a day because August is doggone hot here. So I want to keep them very happy. And that was it. That is everything. I am so thankful for all of your guys' questions and comments. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are so appreciated, more than you'll ever know. I adore you guys. I even love the haters, you know, because even though a hater will say something, it's still, like, you can learn from people who hate. And so they get a thumbs up and a heart too. So I learned something new from everybody. I don't disagree with anything anybody says because everybody's entitled to their own opinion about gardening. I think that it's wonderful, and I think gardening is wonderful, and I think that as people together we can grow and learn together and learn from one another. You know, and that's it. We can even learn from the haters, can't we? So anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this entire video. I hope that you guys got a lot of knowledge about my garden and my reasons behind why I do everything. We've got lots of gardening still to come. I hope you guys are planning on sticking around. We will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again, guys. Bye.